Okay, now my kid is just getting hilarious. I got some footage last night as we were playing with Play-Doh of Elliot talking about Dodger and wanting to watch Dodger and just being silly. But as I laid her down for bed last night, I put her in the bed, then I went to take out the garbage, and as I was getting the trash out of the basement, my wife got home from work, set her stuff down, went upstairs to see Elliot. And so I get everything put away, I take out the trash, and I come in up to see him, and I lay in bed with him. So it's my wife, my daughter, and myself. And my wife looks at me and says, "Okay, what's coffee time?" I just kind of laughed and said, "Hey, can you explain what are you talking about?" She said, "Well, I came in, Elliot's laying here in bed, I lay down beside her, and Elliot's first words to her were, 'Hey guys, it's coffee time.'" This is why I don't let her watch The Angry Video Game Nerd, because it'd be only like a matter of time before she called somebody like a shit-filled retarded bag of fuck or something, just from seeing it so often. But hey guys, it's coffee time from a 2.5-year-old. That was pretty sweet. But once I got to work today, things started kind of to suck. Mike and Mike went to a commercial break. It was like, okay, I'll go listen to the radio, see what's on. I flipped through to one of the kind of, was it Rewind, Gen X, whatever, a 90s sort of station, and they're playing Waterfalls by TLC. And I'm like, shit, TLC, why not? I'm going to sing along with fucking Waterfalls. And then it starts going through. I hear like a chorus and a half before the song's over. And I was so pissed, like for the rest of the day. All day so far, I've been chasing Waterfalls. I've been wanting to hear that entire song, and I don't have it on any of the CDs I have here in the car. I don't have it on my thumb drive. I'm going to go home and just play TLC for like the rest of the night. It'd be kind of weird, but I was so mad that I didn't get to hear the whole song. I hate when I come in, I'm listening to a song, I'll stay in the car until the good song is over because it makes me happy to have a fun song to listen to before work. And so I was so pissed when I only got to hear half of it. But anywho, big weekend coming up of absolutely nothing going on. There are things in town which I totally should do. The UFC's on Saturday night. It's been forever since I've been out for the fights. Catco is putting on Evil Dead the Musical up until Halloween, and that'd be great. But just finding time to get out and childcare and everything else, I'll probably just stay at home and play video games. Which is fine, there are video games that are waiting for my attention. I've not played Street Fighter probably in weeks, so I'll get my ass kicked even more than normal. I'm stuck at a really annoying point in Borderlands. Secret Armory of Major Knox. There's some portion where you have to just drive from T-Bone Junction all the way out towards the prison and everything. And every time you want to go out there, like there's not a save spot out there. There's not a place where you can regen, really. You're just stuck on this fucking road forever. And you have to do it every time you start the game. You go back and back and back, and it's so frustrating. I wish they would put something out there where I could just spawn out there when I start my game up again, because it's just annoying. I have been playing a good bit of Magic, Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012. It's pretty good. Definitely a little bit of an improvement on the older version, from like 2010 or whatever it was. Still not my favorite Magic game. My favorite was the sort of tutorial that came with 6th edition. They had a 6th edition CD, and that was really kind of simple but fun. I enjoyed it. I tried to get George into Magic. I got him to play like 10 or 15 games using just decks I had still handy, stuff that I already kind of pre-made. And he seemed to be, he had fun, but it's not like he's going to go out and start buying cardboard crack or anything. And I'm pretty much out of any collectible game hobbies forever, because it requires at least one other person to have the same level of dedication to buying shit on a at least monthly basis. And yeah, my big Magic and HeroClix crowd is kind of already separated, so we'll stay out of Magic right now. But the Xbox game is pretty good. If you like Magic, give it a shot. It's not a free for all sort of deck builder. But once you get familiar with your decks, it's pretty fun. It's a good game. I think I have one more match to go before I finish the basic campaign and go into Arch Enemy or whatever. I could do Arch Enemy now, but I'm going to finish it in order. But not much else going on, so let's see what stupid, terrible ideas I've had, recently, or I've pulled out of the archives. Starting, I guess, with comics. DC Universe, I assume this is still real in the new one. They have a city called Gorilla City. It's like a hidden city in Africa with super intelligent apes. It's where Grodd is from. And they also have a kind of Atlantean outpost off the coast of San Diego called Sub Diego, which I think is great. Sub Diego is such a cool concept. But I want to kind of combine the two, a Flash and Aquaman crossover. Hell, it'd be good for a Goon or a silly Hellboy story. I want a place called Monkey Sea, where it's an underwater city entirely populated by monkeys in like old-style diving suits, like the big brass helmet with the windows and stuff and hoses. And I don't know what sort of story you could build around Monkey Sea, but I just like the idea. It's another stupid pun joke, but I love the idea of a place called Monkey Sea. DC, sticking with DC, what happens to Superman when it rains? If you go to work, and I've done this just to be stupid, if you have a white business shirt on and you wear a dark blue shirt underneath with a bright red border and some yellow in there and stuff, it's going to show through. I was actually talking to my boss, just sitting there waiting for him to notice it. And sure enough, we're sitting there in a conversation. All of a sudden, he starts smiling as he realized how much of a stupid joke I was pulling, wearing a Superman shirt underneath a white business shirt. But if Superman is out in Metropolis, he's just kind of, say it's a thick cotton and you can't see through it. But as soon as it starts to rain on him, those colors are going to bleed through. He's going to be pretty obvious. Everyone in Metropolis is an idiot for not being able to tell. Screw the glasses thing. You can see the fucking Superman symbol through his shirt. Pay attention. On the Marvel side, it's been a while since I've heard it, but I've always hated where people would refer to Deadpool as the Merc with a mouth. This is some stupid shit that came out of the Marvel marketing department, but I thought it was just so lame. And so I wanted to create or even just use an existing character, DC's Manhunter, or Batwoman would be good for this one. Call her the Vigilante with a Vagina. Not because I really want that as somebody's nickname, but just to prove or to point out how stupid the whole Merc with a mouth thing is. I just never did care for it. So let's all cheer for a Vigilante with a Vagina. Story idea, a story called I Am My Own Paradox. Here come Adam and James. See where they're going. I guess they lost their car. I Am My Own Paradox. It's a man whose wife was killed by a time-traveling criminal. He uses whatever time technology he can to go through and get revenge upon that time traveler. And to help prevent that from happening ever again, he uses a time machine to travel back and forth through time to actually prevent the discovery or invention of time travel. I don't know exactly how I'd write that story, because time travel is always tricky. Unless it's Back to the Future, you're going to pretty much piss me off with time travel stories. So it'd be fun to see how that one goes. But yeah, I Am My Own Paradox. Let's see what else. Sports fan specialty pornography. To tap into the lucrative demographic of 18 to 35-year-old males who happen to often be into both sports and pornography. This is so basic. I don't know if anybody's done this before. Simply have pornos where people are wearing rival team sports gear. So, like, if you were to take some guy in a Bears jersey, goes to a bar, kind of gets into like a little verbal argument with a guy wearing like a Packers jersey or whatever. That guy goes to the bathroom. The Bears guy somehow charms the Packers girlfriend to come home with him. They have sex. She's wearing the Vikings gear or whatever. Hell, the dude could be singing the fucking Super Bowl shuffle as he does her. But just, could you imagine how that would sell? Like, we're here, if I were to do that for OSU versus Michigan, and just have a guy in an OSU gear doing some girl wearing Michigan gear, that would spread through campus. You know, I'd be hero of the school like immediately. But you have to do it fair. You know, switch the teams. You know, so you can sell it to both markets. But I'm surprised they haven't done that. Maybe it's a licensing thing. You don't want to have the schools associated with it, but I'm sure there's a way around it. Hell, you can even put in mascots if you want to attract the furries. I don't in particular, but I guess one of the rules I always heard about making porn is that you don't judge your audience. Fuck that. I judge my audience. If I were to make porn, there are certain things that wouldn't be in it. And you'd be able to tell my taste pretty well because I'm like, you know, no, I don't need to see ass to mouth. That's just gross. But keeping it on the sexy side of things, I'm sorry for those who are big fans, but I could never get into True Blood. I tried a couple times. The show just never clicked with me, but it did stick with me. Specifically, the chilling effect that Sookie Stackhouse had on my life. For a long time now, if I'm walking, you know, through the street, through the mall, whatever, and I see an attractive girl, and I just absentmindedly think some crude sexual remark or whatever, I immediately, in my mind, apologize, just in case she's psychic and she could read my thoughts and she hates me. All because of fucking Sookie. An idea that I always thought was good, I'm like out of Coke, that everybody I mention it to hates, cereal shakers. Now, what this is my favorite part of a bowl of cereal is the last bowl out of the box, where you actually shake all the cereal in and you get the dust and the crumbs and all the broken down cereal from the very bottom into your bowl. It's good, especially for sugary cereals. Honeycomb is good. Crunch Berries are fantastic. You get that sort of colored sugary powder, and it makes the milk turn the color of whatever the cereal is. It really flavors it. There's a little bit of grit to it almost. You can kind of crunch it. And I loved eating your cereal and drinking that flavored milk. So I just want to make like a little pint of milk, you know, plastic jug with a small plastic container on top. Fill that container with cereal crumbs. Again, Crunch Berries would be fantastic for this. Pop the lid off of your milk, pour in your cereal crumbs, pop the lid on, shake it up, and you drink your milk slurry. Everybody thinks that sounds terrible. I would buy those like every day. Well, I might make them myself to get a bowl of, get a box of Crunch Berries, pour them into a blender, blend it up, and just drink it like, I don't know, like Nestle Quick or something. I think it's a cool idea. Nobody else thinks it's worth a damn. So they all suck. One idea that I think could actually catch on now that we have the technology to really do it, I don't know if you guys remember, but in like 87, 88, there was a TV show and toy line called Captain Power. Very generic name. And the show was a kind of a very generic sci-fi space adventure. Hero piloted kind of just a space fighter jet, and so did the villains. And the toys were basically those jets. And you need a little cockpit you put your action figure in, but it had a handle and a trigger. So the toys were essentially like laser tag guns. If you're playing, you shoot at the other jets, and if the sensor detects enough hits, the cockpit will blow open and the pilot will fly out. So if you're watching the Captain Power show, at the end there was a segment where you could actually play a game against the show. I don't know exactly how it worked, but there'd be ships flying at you from the screen, and you'd be using your toys to shoot at certain spots on the screen, and when the episode is over or whatever, your gun would register how many hits you had, how many shots you made. And my brother and I loved it, and it only lasted for like a season. They did release some VHS tapes you could play along with, but imagine what we could do now with things like the Wiimote or even the PlayStation Move. Seeing the stuff that they're doing with that Spyro Skylanders thing, I'm sure there's all sorts of little toys you could put up in front of a Kinect sensor or whatever, and just have a TV show, video game, toy line that all mesh together, where somehow you'd interact with that screen. Maybe now, especially something like the Kinect, it might be able to shoot back, and it'll post your scores to your site, your little profile. It was such a fun little game as a kid. It just didn't last very long. Nobody really got into it. I think it was maybe people were tired of the laser tag photon sort of thing. But Captain Power was cool. I think we could do an even better job right now. Who knows? I don't know if the interest is out there. People are moving away from toys after a certain age and directly into video games, but I think this would be a nice bridge. It can definitely be like a merchandising bonanza. That's about all we have for today. I hope you guys all have a good weekend coming up here, whatever you decide to do with it. Until then, I probably will see you guys again on Monday night. Have a good weekend.